guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these beautiful flower pots with the lettering. I'm going to show you how to take the Dollar Tree toy shovels and turn them into this beautiful art. I'm also going to show you how to dehydrate and jar your vegetables. This is my garden I planted a month and a half ago with some of the same herbs. They grow really, really fast. First, we're going to go ahead and put a piece of tape in the bottom of our pots, and we're going to paint them with the dark bronze hammered paint. Now you want to do several coats on this. Just let it dry between coats. You don't want it too runny. Just be careful not to make runs. Then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to paint around the edge. My video went out when I was doing it, but if you just put some paint on your paper, you can just paint it like that. I'm going to go ahead and come down about an inch from the top and add some more paint. Now, if you're going to fill this flower pot all the way to the top with dirt, you do not want to paint the inside of your flower pot. I'm going to plant my plants below this line, and I'll show you here in a minute. Just go ahead and get it taped in good. And then I'm going to take a wad of brown paper or any kind of paper, newspaper, whatever you want to do. Just put it all the way in there and then tape up that edge because you don't want any paint down the bottom of your flower pot. And then I'm just going to go ahead and paint the edges the same color as I did on the outside. Okay, next I'm taking these little storyboard letters and I'm going to cut out my basil, oregano, and rosemary letters. And you want to just cut the back of them off because that's the part that sticks into the storyboard. So you want to make sure that they are flat. When you get them all put together, then we're going to paint them with a Krylon rose gold metallic paint. And I'm going to put a row of double-sided tape on my paper to hold the letters in place. And that way when I take them outside and put them and start spray painting them, they don't blow. If you've ever painted little objects, it's hard to keep them in place and keep them from blowing away. So go ahead and do this step on all your letters, and then that way they'll stay in place and they're not going to stick permanently to that. Then we're going to take our black Krylon matte black paint and we're going to paint the saucers. Just take them outside and paint them. Then I'm going to take some Miracle-Gro potting soil and I'm going to add it to all my flower pots below the paint line, probably about a ½ inch below, but put a piece of tape on the bottom to keep the dirt inside because we don't have them in the saucers yet. Go ahead and make a cavity in the center, and you're not going to put your plant all the way down into the pot. You're going to leave it up about an inch. See where that ridge of that flower pot made that on that plant? That's how high you want to leave it. You don't want to cover the top of that plant. Just get it in there good. Now that's the rosemary. And then we're going to do the same thing with the basil and the oregano. Just don't push it all the way down in the dirt real far. And these are all real hardy plants. They grow nearly everywhere. I live in Texas. Mine do well. My mom lives in Montana. Hers do really well too. So they're pretty hardy in most climates. Okay, next I'm going to take my letters and I'm just going to take some E6000 glue and attach them to my flower pots, and then I came back in with the hot glue gun and put some glue on there temporarily to hold it till the E6000 glue held. This really dressed up these flower pots. I really like these that rose gold colored paint. And then just do the same thing to your other two flower pots. And then go ahead and take your tape off of them and put them into your saucers. See how good that looks? Okay, next I'm going to take some of the Dollar Tree solar lights and I'm just going to put them into my flower pots because I am going to put this on my patio and it really looked good at night with the lights. Just be sure and pull the little tab out so that they do light up. And I'm just going to stick them in each one of my flower pots, just to kind of give it a little lighting. Next, I'm going to take the little Dollar Tree shovels. I already took the little screw out and just take them and pull them off. And then I'm painting them with the same color, dark bronze, as I did the flower pots. But just make sure that you wait a few times before you touch them up because you want them to dry between each coat. And this has a primer already built into the paint. And then I'm just coming back with the matte black Krylon and painting the sticks. Now I'm going to take some E6000 glue. And I'm just going to put some inside of each one of those before I put my stick in. And just make sure that you line that hole in the back up and put that screw back in them. and tighten them up real tight. Just kind of push on them as you're doing it, and they'll tighten up really good. Because when you first get them at the Dollar Tree, they're pretty loose. Okay, then I'm going to take a little jute. I'm just going to wrap it around between the shovel part and the handle, and I'm going to wrap it around 5 times. These actually look like real metal shovels when you get done painting them like this. I couldn't believe how good they turned out. Just kind of go around it 5 times and then glue that off and cut that off, and then you're going to do the same thing for the second one. Okay, and then after you get those all put on, we're going to just take a lighter, and we are going to light up the rope. Just kind of move it around real fast, and it'll take all those frayed edges off. Okay, and there they are at night. They light up good. They look good. It's a simple project, just a lot of painting involved, and then that's the little shovel. You can do a lot of different things with that shovel. You could decorate it many different ways. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to go ahead and take the produce out of my garden. On this row, on the basil, you need to be sure and pick the little flowers off so that your basil will not go to seed. You've got to pick those off and keep them off of there. And then I'm going to do the rosemary and the oregano as well. So I'm just going to take my herbs. This is the basil. I'm just going to pull each one of the little petals off, and I'm going to put them in a colander, and then I'm going to wash them. And then on the oregano, if you start at the top and pick the top leaves off, and then just run your finger down that, those come off real quick and easy. Just start at the top and run your finger down them, and you'll get them off real easy. It's not a lot of work that way. And then the same thing with the rosemary. Just pinch the top off, and then run your fingers from the top down, and it'll come off, and they'll all come off. Now you can freeze these herbs, and you can use them fresh. I'm going to dehydrate mine. I'm just going to put them in a layer, and I'm just going to spread them out pretty thin in my dehydrator, and I'm going to dehydrate them. I'm going to do all of them together. Just make sure that you have them spread out pretty good. And I didn't pull a lot of these off, but I'm just going to show you about how much it makes. It really makes a lot of seasonings. And you can refrigerate them too. And then just put your lid on your dehydrator. You're going to set it at 95 degrees, and then just watch it at 2-hour increments is what I do. It took mine 4 hours total. If you're in a high humidity area, you probably want to turn it up to 125. But it was 4 hours on mine. After you make sure that they are very, very crispy, no moisture in them, then you can go ahead and chop them and store them. And I'm going to chop these. I like my oregano to be a little bit more coarse. If you want it more fine, you can put it in a food processor. You can even put it in a coffee grinder. If you don't want to get a dehydrator, you can always just tie these up outside, hang them up upside down, and they will dehydrate, but it takes about 5 weeks to do that. And then just put the lid on there and label them. And then on the rosemary, I did put it in the food processor because it is a little bit more coarse of an herb, and it's really hard to chop it up by hand. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in my food processor, and I'm just going to run it till it's the consistency that I want. And you can do all kinds of herbs, but these were pretty hardy. Okay, and I'll show you how coarse I got mine. They're still coarse, but they're not. They're perfect for cooking with. Great for chicken and all that. Good for vegetables. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my basil. I'm going to put it into the food processor as well because I do want it to be a little bit more fine for like spaghetti. And then just run it in the food processor until it gets the consistency that you want. And this doesn't take that long, and it does make quite a bit. And the normal shelf life for these is about 6 months, but I've used mine up over a year, and you can put them in the freezer if you want to. It's just a really nice way to make your own seasonings. If you like the video, hit like. If you want to see future videos, hit subscribe. If you'll be notified when I have another video, hit the bell. Thank you so much for watching.